We have been working on autonomous ships for quite a number of regions, but specific to Middle East, we have recently delivered one of the vessel, which is uncrewed surface vessel, which is very much got our assurance certificate. It is mainly for the subsea pipeline inspection. The client is Fugro and the builder is Seatrade. It's a 12-meter uncrewed surface vessel which is carrying the ROV, and those ROVs are mainly for the subsea pipeline inspection, and it's very much is operated in the Dubai waters. I mean, there is a lot of misconceptions about the autonomy of the vessel and unmanned aspects of the vessel. So when we say unmanned, it's like you are really having no people and they're kind of using completely unattended vessel. But autonomy is, you have to look at the holistic view of not just the way the vessel is operated, but also in terms of the other operations or the functionalities within all the machineries or the vessel's specific functions. So you have to look at the way holistically the whole development of the completely autonomous ships. We as an assurance body, I mean, always looks at like we are like a fence who is stopping the innovation in terms of making sure the safeties are not compromised, but that's not the reality. We are really like a fence which has this wide gate open, which allows all these novel technologies and solutions entering. However, we know that when we talk about AI or autonomy, it has lot of different facets where the risks are associated. Like a simple example of how your machine learning has been developed, where the data has been gathered, or cyber security attacks, and these are the realities, and how do we really make sure that these are not compromised. So in terms of the assurance of autonomy, we really have a framework which well allows all these kind of technologies, and looking at holistically. At the same times, we have the classification wing which makes sure create some kind of a regulatory framework so that all these things are easily traceable, evidence are gathered, and in terms of getting the confidence in the system, how they have been produced. So really it is like, I would say it's a fence with a wide gate open, which really allows and balances the safety as well as the innovation. In terms of the technology, I mean, we have been seeing technologies happening, we have seen there are a lot of takers and there is a lot of money in the market where the buyers are really pouring that money so that the technology is being accepted within the wide industry, and even if we don't want, it is coming into our house. I mean, look at the ChatGPT, we have been seeing everybody is going to use ChatGPT. So it's not just the maritime industry, but it's the complete transformation which is happening in the entire world, in every industry, even the education. I would like to give one of the good example where there was an incident that one of the one of the captain of the ship actually took a decision asking ChatGPT, and that's where you have to be very careful, how the decisions are made. Take the decisions, and where the source of that kind of information. So tracking that is very crucial. So in terms of the regulatory space or the assurance of it, my earlier questions, the traceability is very, very important and key parameter. In terms of where the technology is going, I mean, we have the statistics where we have seen, in 2023, we are looking at AI itself is 1.47 billion of market, whereas autonomy is 2.3 billion of market. And next 5 years, we are going to see the growth of 3 billion for the AI, which is like a 22% growth rate, whereas the autonomy is 4.51 billion, which is at the 19%. So really, I mean, these are the real statistics which we have been gathered. We have worked with TTS, who has actually come up with this paper by market analysis, and which is easily available. Anybody can go and really get some insight from there. But looking at these, and then who are the takers or who are the investor in these are small medium enterprises, which are like really new talent and the people who are not in maritime industry, So AI or autonomy or automation or new technology is not coming from the conventional maritime industry. It is completely coming from the industry which is not aware of what are the requirements of maritime. So really, how do we get them on board? How do we hold their hands and explain them that it's not just the AI, or it's not just the autonomy or the technology? How do we develop that? Where the source of that, and guide them and make them understand also the aspects of the safety. So it's really creating that kind of a balance, and that's where I think we as Lloyd's Register help. Looking at the complete assurance framework, which is like overarching requirements from the inception of the design until the delivery, but where exactly the data is coming from, because as we say, AI, machine learning, automation, autonomy, all is data driven. So really the threat is coming from data, and the traceability is really sure. For me, diversity, inclusion, belonging is really not like we have been seeing these are like a buzzword, but for me it is like the basic human rights, right? I mean, we all want to feel, that we are accepted because of the way we are, and the beauty is we are different, right? And that's what we want to bring it to the table. And how do we really get that belonging? So for me, belonging is the acceptance from whoever you work with for whatever the weaknesses or strength you have. Being an engineer, I first need to be a good engineer, and that automatically will get me the acceptance, So I don't need to be there in terms of any specific related to the gender or biases, but it's like in general acceptance. So for me, diversity, inclusion, belonging is, bring your capabilities. Don't ask for something which you are not able to bring it to the table. Show it that you can bring something to the table, and you will be well accepted. Be acceptance of your own self to yourself, and then automatically that will eventually sip into the wider acceptance. So I guess a lot of time we have these notions about how do we really look at the diversity, inclusion and belonging in any specific region. And I think we have to really rise above all of that. Nothing is specific to any region. Everywhere, everybody is working. The world has been so much globalized, I mean, I'm sitting here and giving this interview itself is a kind of acceptance of the way I am, and I can come and speak wherever I want, and I'm very much accepted. So really, I mean, I'm not giving answer to the specific to that, but really for me, diversity, inclusion, belonging is like you know what is your responsibility when you are speaking, but you know that you are doing it with a good intention, and there is a wider acceptance for that, for the good intention.